Ladies and gentlemen, it's Saturday weekend once again, and that means more live podcasts on PodFest Asia. We're going to have more discussion on the NFT Asia podcast coming up next with DarkMythst, one of the pioneer AfroCosmic, Afrofuturist artists of this time. He'll be talking with me about his multiple discipline art journey, career in the film industry, how he got into NFTs, and the meaning behind his art. We'll also be discussing his role and involvement in the art community, both as a contributor and influencer. So without further ado, let's welcome our good friend DarkMythst to the stage. How are you, my friend? Where are you residing in? Which city are you in right now? Tell us where you are, what's happening in your city.
I'm in Imperial, California. That's about, driving, it's about an hour and a half away from San Diego. What's happening here is just hot. It is so hot. It's like a desert in the daytime, and pretty nice and chill in the evening. But glad to be here.
And I'm super glad that you're here with us, on this Saturday weekend, because right here I'm in Singapore. It's past 12 noon, almost lunchtime. And talking about heat wave, I think climate change is real, yeah? And we are like approaching, I think, 36 degrees Celsius. It's only like the past couple of days, we have some temporary relief with some bit of rain here and there. But it's been a really, really hot season, yeah? So, well, I've been, looking at some of the news, and climate change is impacting everywhere, right? In North Carolina, I believe the bees are dwindling in population. So these are all the replay scenes from Black Mirror. It's like, all these Netflix
Yes.
realities that are so prescient, right? It's now actually happening in real life, yeah? So, yeah. Are you a big fan of Black Mirror as well?
I am. It gets weird sometimes, but I love it. It touches on what is actually happening, or where we're going towards. I like it. I've watched it a few times, the seasons, and I'm going to be watching it again.
Yeah, I think it would be a different experience rewatching. I remember when it started playing on Netflix, right? I was like, oh, that could probably happen. That maybe might not happen. But it seemed like if you rewatch everything and every singular episode, everything has already happened. So
exactly.
Today we're not going to be talking about Netflix shows. So we'll definitely be focusing more on your art, especially spotlighting you. Maybe let's kick off by telling us a little bit about your history. Perhaps you could tell us, how you got into this rabbit hole of NFTs, and of course, your goals as an artist. Why do you call yourself DarkMythst, and what does being an artist mean to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm originally from Ghana, West Africa, born and also partially raised in Kenya as well, and moved to the United States when I was very young. I stayed in the southern part of the United States and then migrated to the Midwest, Minnesota. But I started doing art as early as 5 years old. In fact, my first art competition in grade school, I won first place, and then again in third grade. And I wasn't actually trying to be in these contests. I would just draw and paint, and my parents or teachers would just put my work in the competitions, and they would win. But I didn't take it serious. I did it as a passionate art, just doing it for the fun of it. I didn't really take it serious. What I did was ended up being in visual effects and graphics for a while, and then I ended up transitioning into visual effects, where I landed in Los Angeles, working in the film industry, working on, the Avengers, G.I. Joe, SpongeBob, Prometheus, a lot of really cool sci-fi movies. That's like where I really, really got inspired to even do more art. After that, I moved on to become a medical media director, where we do visual animations and visuals for medical field surgeries and all that kinds of cool stuff. But I did that for a few years, and as the NFT game started to open up, I took interest trying to figure out, okay, what is this NFT? A friend of mine told me about it. And so I came into space and listened for a few weeks, learning about NFTs, and thought, wow, so artists can just create art, and there are people out there that will really appreciate it and buy it. And it's through Ethereum, which I had no idea about the cryptocurrency. So it's taken a lot of time learning it, and I started creating some artwork. But of course, the journey itself was a whole another experience, just to try and get find my way, how I fit into it. Because I'm a multiple disciplinary artist, and I enjoy and love to do all types of art. And so as I was finding my way, I started developing little storylines for myself and learning how it worked in the NFT space. Um, had a successful sale, went a couple of months not making any sales, but I was actually in the community, working within, like giving people tips on how I did what I did, how to make sales and whatnot. And then later on, I had created a new storyline of NFTs I did. And interestingly, I had about 6 pieces up, and they all went on auction within the 2 days. So that was really cool. Following that, I also have NFT community that I co-found with another great artist and friend of mine, Vintage Mozart. And it's a community that helps bring in other Africans or the diaspora, or pretty inclusive, into the community to help try and show, to help expose as well as onboard and help people, get into the NFT game. But I'm associated with other diverse clubs. I've been involved with, NFT Asia, which through Ashita and Charmaine, great leaders in the space, as well as NFT Asian Women, which I work with a great young lady by the name of June, and she runs that space. So there's a lot of intercommunication, community mingling going on. So yeah, that's how I got into the space and what I've been doing all this time.
While walking through this history, right, I'm just admiring your NFT art.
Thank
They
you.
are simply beautiful and stunning. I just love, your oasis of creation, embracement of light, Mau and Lisha, the twin flames, right? These are also compelling to, even just admire, off my computer screen. And, I wish I could own one of your art. And you have done so many brilliant pieces. Perhaps, are there any few stories you would like to tell about some of the highlights from your NFT collection? Because there's so many here that are worth
Yeah.
probably a series of podcasts to explain, the process as well as the background story and where you got your inspirations from, right? So over to you, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're really seeing quite a bit of work that I've been doing since February when I came in. Um, in the beginning, as what you're seeing right now, I was making these African tokens. They're actually symbols. I thought that, hey, we know about, there's all these Arabic symbols, there's the Asian symbols, there's all these symbols, but there's also African symbols. So I decided to make some, and they're all in 3D. I've actually had people think that they were real photographs, but the sand grain, everything, it's in 3D. I also have a Africo made company that I run, where I make these unique combs. You can see this was actually an artwork on one of them. So when I came into the space, I was actually bringing some of the design work I was in. So I make these really beautiful combs as deco art for now, and hopefully sometime functional. And so going through that, I started experimenting with a little bit more art, trying to figure a way which way I would go, because generally my art has been different. You can see this has cosmic elements. A majority of my art does have cosmic elements in it, nebulous clouds, the stars, or very nature type, which I explain the cosmic parts later. I generally liked to fuse my culture, my African culture, some of what I've known, some of the stories I've been told from my parents, also things that I research. I like to find that and incorporate it into my artwork. Now, I've also done some abstract work. So like what you're seeing right now is experimenting with a software that does fragmented art. Now, in the film industry, I worked in 3D. So I've thought of incorporating the concept of doing something like this, but also in a virtual space. So I made a few fractal pieces that was just intended to just submerge you into more of a mental state, complete with sound effects as well. So I did one that's a little bit more mechanical like this, and then I did one where it's also just a very cloudy, dark sort of mountain. I play on moods too. You notice most of my pieces play on moods, and a lot of times I'm creating a piece that represents maybe the week that I'm having. So if it's a bad week, it could be the art can come off a little dark. If it's a good week, then I have a little bit fun and fantasy with it. Um, I started creating a Mawu series, and that's where you see most of their art, where they combine. They look like they have a certain brand to it. And what I wanted to do was create some a storyline, and I wanted to bring in, you know, um, African gods and goddesses. We've heard of Greek mythology, we've heard of so many other mythologies, but African, that I thought, hey, you know what? I know some of these stories. Why don't I tell a story with it? Especially being exposed to the film industry, you do learn the art of storytelling. And I wanted to try creating a cinematic, but creating these characters through artwork, and getting collectors and admirers of art and storytelling to engage. So the first of few series I did as a solo artist, creating the Mawu character, creating the elephant, a Piaget character, all sorts of really a few of the interesting characters in session. But then what I want to do was incorporate and work with other artists. I find working with artists just, it's fun. Pushing each other's limits and seeing, getting the idea of what an artist is thinking about. So I invited some artists to work with me on a 7-part series of the Mawu piece. And every few weeks, I would drop a new piece featuring that artist. I would do my own piece, and then I would also do a piece featuring the artist, which would do some environmental additional work to the artwork that I've already created. And it was just a way of getting us to be more exposed to other collectors, and also as well as just simply having fun with it. And every artist I've worked with has had a good time working on this, and it's been really, really a good journey with that part of the artwork.
This is amazing, my friend. And I think when we are admiring your work, right? I think artists and creators out there who are watching this live on LinkedIn and everywhere else, they would love to know, what's your favorite digital art software that you use to create all these amazing NFTs, like from professional tools to amateur tools? Could you share with others what helps bring your imagination to life?
I use a very big number of tools because of different specialties. So I'll just kind of list them. I use everything from video to audio to 3D to 2D. So, Photoshop is my favorite of the painting programs. So we got Photoshop for 3D. I use Blender, Houdini, ZBrush, and yeah, those are the three I use primarily for 3D. And then for video, I use DaVinci, and for the additional edits. For audio, I use Fruity Loops. We got a pretty insane audio pack that I use to put everything together. So those are pretty much my favorite tools. But there are more side tools that I might pull in from time to time, like I think it's pronounced Jaya. I don't know. But it does environment modeling and whatnot. But yeah, that's pretty much my tool set right there.
Amazing. What's the idea for this NFT you're doing? Someone else's idea, or was it like a suggestion, or even like a fan request?
For the artwork, or yeah, so this is all just coming from mind. So anything that I'm pacing around or something just comes to my mind. I decided I wanted to do something that had meaning, and I could tell a story and would be different than what's out there.
Sure. Maybe let's segue into a question about environmental issue. I think some artists, like even musicians that I spoke to right on this podcast, they are reluctant to move into this space because they think there are some impact on the environment. I think we started off this show talking about some Black Mirror, realities that they painted, like the depiction of the number of bees, right, being produced, and of course, we have seen heat waves, affecting every country across the globe. So there has been some pushback on environmental issue. Are you, thinking about doing something, to address that, like to appeal to the mainstream world in terms of like moving from like proof of work to proof of stake blockchains, and maybe, move some of your NFT from Ethereum onto more scalable forms? That are not proof of work chain, which basically consumes more energy?
So to answer your question on that, I see a movement and that pattern slowly shifting to a more environmental state, because when the NFTs were happening, you have to imagine this is during a pandemic and everybody's working home, some without jobs, some trying to leave jobs, and here comes this opportunity that puts the power in artists' hands. And there's many stories of artists that were on the brink of losing rent, find out about NFTs, and now they can live rent, pay for family, whatnot. So there's a pros and cons to it there, but it's like the same with automobiles. We have the technology to do everything solar and electrical, but we're not moving that way. We still have a lot of cars using gas. I think what's going to happen is, as and there are a lot of artists that are not aware of the environmental impacts that there is, because you have artists from third world countries getting into this that have no idea about this sort of thing. You have artists that might know of it, but they're struggling, and this is the way to get them out. But there are now platforms that are starting to open up that can give this opportunity to have artists that want to, to better serve the environment, move away from that. And I think, the miners and not the miners, but the blockchain, the way that it is right now and how it does impact, there's at some point there is going to be, artists could be held responsible for this, where everyone says, hey, artists, you're doing well now, but what are you going to do for the environment too? And I think that's when the artists can come in and find ways to invest in more environmental patterns, as well as moving over to the these platforms that will not do such an impact on the environment. Because I really think that the artists do consider it for the most part. It's a very hard place to be in, especially if it's working out for you. But I would imagine that a majority of the artists, when that time comes, would come together to ensure that we can have a positive impact.
And rightly so. And maybe this is also a good time to maybe share with our audience, what is AfroCosmic? I think this is from your business, right? I think there's a link that we will be sharing shortly, which is www.afrocosmic.com. Do you also make like Afro deco art, jewelry, etc.? Tell us about this, business of yours.
Yeah, so it started off as just making, artistic type of combs. Now in Ghana, we're known for making a lot of beautiful wood masks, combs, jewelry, and whatnot. So I broke my comb one day, and I had a 3D printer and I thought, well, instead of going to the store because I'm being lazy, can I just print a comb? And so so I just downloaded a random 3D comb. But then I looked at it and thought, well, I could make it look better. And I went ahead and sculpted and did a bunch of stuff to the comb. And first thing, I thought, wow, imagine if I could do more of these. And so I ended up meeting with a young lady, Cheryl Moreau, whose father is Dr. Willie Morrow, who was an inventor of a particular prong of combs. And so we talked, and they gave me permission to use the likeness of it to make some designs. And it went very well. Once I started creating these, I started them as comb decos and started an Instagram, put them out, and the first month sold out, second month sold out, and then that's when I started getting into NFTs and slowing down. But um, it's to say that what's happening with the NFTs is allowing me to tap in more into my creative side. And as I take a little bit break from NFTs, I do go back and start creating more content for the for AfroCosmic. So it's pretty much art, deco, jewelry. Um, I want to create it into something that is just has a very unique cultural aspect to it. It has some culture, but it has something that kind of feels futuristic to it. Just has that element of, if you haven't seen anything like this before. I take special care in the sculpting, digital sculpting of it, and printing it out and coloring, painting, and doing all the nice little magic to it.
I'm just looking at your e-commerce website, right? I think it's also a showcase page because it's just beautiful merch that available for anyone to click to order. Can someone like me, in Singapore, who is now a big fan of your work, can I actually order, a bunch of combs from the website, and does it ship to Singapore as well?
Absolutely. So because I have been getting sales actually internationally, which has been great. I think Australia has been one, UK, Canada, and just more recently we had Mexico. So it's really cool. And these are, a lot of it is just decoration. So I thought people would want to buy it to use it, but a majority of everyone just says, no, this is a actual art piece, with your fingerprint on it. So I think just about everybody, they have it just for as a decoration. But I do plan to make some more unique styles, but I want to use a little bit different materials to continue bringing the uniqueness and royalty of it.
So, you're a multidisciplinary artist, NFT artist. You work, for films as well in some of your work, and you have your own AfroCosmic as well. How do you balance, different hats? Like, do you happen, to, like, for many people who are multi-niche, right, doing so many stuff at the same time, do you, have that kind of experience where you have to drop certain plates in order to keep the other plates up? Like, it's a juggling act, right? Being able to actually juggle so many things all at once. So how do you cope?
Well, I follow the 1% rule. There's a great book you can find. It's called The 1%. And basically what it is as long as you apply 1% to anything per day, at the end of the year, that's 365%. So I always have my main goal for the day, but then I always feel at least have to do 1% of all this other stuff. And so what I've noticed is I have my days where it's heavy on NFT artwork, but then the days go heavy on AfroCosmic, but I'm always kind of balancing it. It's not to say that some weeks have been harder than the others, because some weeks are demanding, especially if I get a commission. I'm working on a commission for Black NFT art where I'm building an architectural gallery, a virtual gallery. And so, you have those days that you add on, and, I literally do about 4 hours of sleep a night, but some weekends I crash and then I get back to it. But what it is the passion. I'm just really excited about it. I feel like I just have so much in me to do and give that I'll just do it until the light bulb goes out.
This is fantastic. I think it's great advice for creators out there or entrepreneurs as well. I think, it's not just about passion, right? But it's also about putting in the work ethic. I think you have probably provided a blueprint on how to actually successfully juggle all these, challenges that, a creator or an entrepreneur has to face daily, every day, right? So, well, before we let you go, can you believe it? It's already 26-minute mark.
Wow, that time flew.
Fantastic conversation and just admiring some of your art. It's just incredible experience for me. Looking at this, and maybe let's do a spit things out. Maybe a rapid fire round so that we could squeeze as many answers from you in the next 4 minutes remaining.
Let's do it.
So move on to this rapid fire questions momentarily. Here are the rules. You must give really short and pithy response, maybe one sentence or two maximum. So are you ready?
Let's do this.
What are your proudest life moments?
Getting into the film industry and seeing my name in the movie credits.
Fantastic. What do you want doing less of in 2021?
Can you repeat that?
What do you want doing less in the rest of the year?
What do I want to do less?
Yeah.
That's a hard question. I don't know. I really don't know.
Like for myself, I want to do less pontificating, more execution. What about you?
I would probably say less of my real day job so I can do more of my passionate job.
That's brilliant. And that, follow up with this question, what do you want doing more of in 2021?
Oh, art. I want to create as many sculpts, physical and digital pieces as I can. I would love to have 100 pieces done by the end of the year if possible.
Fantastic. I think that's just saying, creators, creatives make, planners delay, right? So
exactly.
Next one, advice for NFT artists out there who are tuning in, to this live broadcast.
Be patient. Learn what you have to learn. Be patient with your art. Don't rush through your art because you just want to put your best foot so when that person collects, they collect value.
Any future ambitions or side projects?
Yes, I'm building a clinic in Ghana and also going to be investing in trying to build an orphanage back home too, as well as a film studio.
How can people reach you?
You can find me on Instagram at DarkMythst, spelled just like you see on the screen here, and on Twitter, DarkMythst1. You have to put a number 1 after it because it looks like there was an old hack at the original name and Twitter won't let me have that. So DarkMythst1 on Twitter and DarkMythst on Instagram.
And of course, the most convenient way is just to hit your Linktree. I believe we have the right URL right below Linktree/DarkMythst. So it's been a real honor and pleasure, chatting with you for the past half an hour. Let's hope we can do this again. And maybe, in the future when I come to stateside, right, I can do a in real life interview, a sit down interview with you. Finally, I think that'll be a great day. So please take care of yourself and take care of everyone over there. Before we go, any last words or message for any of the listeners who are replaying this podcast on your AirPods or smart speakers later on?
I just want to say thank you for this time and bless up to Singapore, and really glad I had a chance to engage with the listeners in the community there as well too. And much love to everybody.
Much love. I really appreciate you. So please take care of yourself. I'll see you really soon, my friend.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye-bye. So do check out DarkMythst. His Linktree is right there. You'll be able to connect to all his wonderful work, including his IMDb movie visual effects credits for work that he's done with Marvel and DC, etc. And of course, all his social handles like Twitter, Instagram, and the link to his website, AfroCosmic. So with that, I'm going to take a break. We'll be back with more podcast action later on with another show called the Bucket List Band, where we have another Singaporean artist and musician who's coming on to talk about his latest single. So with that, I'm going to sign out. You've been watching and listening to Wayne Cheong on the NFT Asia Podcast. Goodbye.